Hi, Didi.
Good morning.
Morning. So I think it's time. Uh, so has the victory sunk in for you, or are you still dreaming
Yeah,
about
yeah,
the
it's sunk
brilliant?
in with too many things happening over, in the world of sports as well as in otherwise with
Yeah,
change in presidency and in the US and a lot of things happening in the world of sport. And the Sri Lanka test with England going on, and the kind of over analysis and a lot of things going on around why we won and how we won, and Australian media and Indian media going across too many things. So
crazy.
yes, definitely it has sunk in, but irrespective of the fact, it was still the reaction initially was how it should have been. So yeah.
Yeah, I just, I mean, sometimes it happens. I mean, it happens to the best of the teams, to the best of the sportsmen, and I think that's the beauty of sport is that it continues to remind us that there will be, David beats Goliath moments in the sports. And I
Yes.
think it is that essence of sports that uh, really keeps the fans also glued to the screens, brings them to the stadium in the hope of something that beats the usual pattern. So yes, uh, we can obviously analyze, over analyze. Great. But on that note, I just thought that I felt that both the sides, they had some really good players all across India and Australia. And
Hmm.
as a fun exercise, I thought it will be a good idea to make a single 11 from both the sides that play.
Yes, I thought through this, and I also, growing up as a child, in fact, it was always a habit to kind of me with another of my school friends, and later on with a few other friends, to kind of make a all-time 11 and all
All
of those.
time. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, in football and cricket and all of those things. Uh, uh, it's an interesting thing to kind of think, pick 11 players from these set of not 22 players, because like India itself has used 20 players, and Australia has as well used quite a number of players.
Yeah,
Warner was not there for the first two tests and all of those things. So I have actually thought through and created something.
fabulous. So
So
let me just structure it a bit so that it is easier for you. And I will prompt you, and you tell me who are the players who are taking certain positions. Okay.
sure,
Okay. So let's get going. Let's start with the openers.
Gil just walks into the site,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yeah.
Now, one of the things when we make all-time 11s, is also to ensure that you just can't fit the 11 best players.
Mm-hmm.
Positions in sport has also,
Absolutely.
a very critical role to play, right?
I agree.
Uh, like for example, you can choose the 11 best footballers, but you can't just uh, play players out of position,
Yeah, like
right?
you cannot have Messi playing in the defensive midfield, or if you
Yeah,
happen
and
to
then
choose.
having watched football for almost 30 years now, I still am not very, good at positions as I am with cricket or other sport, tennis or
Correct.
something. Although tennis doesn't have a position, but yeah, relatively still at a very basic level. Yes, you cannot play Messi in a
Yeah,
defensive
yeah,
midfielder
absolutely.
role, and So having said that, the point being is that you cannot play just to fit in the best players. You cannot disrespect the positions that they play in, right?
Absolutely, I agree with you.
Which is
So,
why, given a choice, I would have moved Pujara to open, because
hmm,
uh, for a majority of his career, Pujara has effectively had to open because the Indian first wicket fell very early,
oh
right?
yeah, yeah.
Overseas,
I think
overseas.
Pujara and Dravid have been practical openers for India for a really,
Yes,
long time. Yeah,
but here I will stick to positions, and
absolutely.
so because I have Gill fixed at one position
Who's your second
now,
opener?
that is the point, that who is my second opener. Now I
Yeah,
will for sure, impact that
Absolutely.
the man produces. I have a choice between Warner and Rohit, and I think Rohit was at ease at all the 4 innings that he has played.
Absolutely.
So I will go with Rohit. So Rohit
Yeah.
and Gill are my openers.
Great.
My one down is Pujara.
Okay. I think we are in complete, unison till this point of time. Yes.
My two down is Labuschagne. Although Labuschagne has batted number 3 for Australia, I'll put him at number 4 in this team.
Okay. So
Let's pause for 5, 6, and 7 for a moment.
Okay. So
Okay,
I will just barge in, and I will say that for me, I know that Steve Smith has had a relatively quieter series by his own standards. But for me, I mean, if I'm playing Steve Smith, uh, if I have the choice of having Steve Smith in my team, I will have him at any point of time, and I will possibly play him at number 4. So my number 4 is Steve Smith.
Sure. So my number 4 is Labuschagne. So I will pause for a bit here.
Yeah.
Okay. 5, 6, and 7. Let's keep it blank.
Correct.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 8, 9, 10, 11. I think 8, 9, 10, 11 is self-explanatory for me at least. Cummins, Hazelwood, and Ashwin just walk into the 8,
I
9,
agree
and 10.
that Ashwin should play number 9. I will play.
Yeah. As in batting order is fine. I'm just saying
Absolutely.
that Ashwin, Cummins, and Hazelwood. I'm just selecting
I
the
will
bowlers.
I will play Cummins at 8. I will play Hazelwood at 10.
Ashwin at 9. Now between Siraj and Bumrah,
I know that
I will go with Bumrah. I know Siraj has been the highest wicket taker for India. I will still go with Bumrah.
Same here. I will also go with Bumrah because see, sometimes it also so happens is that when you're playing a bowler of high quality, you try to be more defensive against that bowler. You try not to give them a wicket, and I think that
so Bumrah will not give you easy runs, right? And he hasn't given easy runs. So my bowling lineup is more or less sorted for the series.
I think I am also going to have the same bowling lineup. I feel this is the most perfect sort of a bowling lineup given the form that players were in this particular series. Now that leads us to 5,
coming
6,
back to my 5, 6, and 7.
Yeah.
So my wicketkeeper is Rishabh Pant. There is no doubt about it. For whatever
what number are you playing?
I will play him at 6. Okay. So my wicketkeeper is Rishabh Pant. I know he needs to improve significantly relative to his batting, his wicketkeeping, but there is no doubt. And let's stop the debate here that he's my wicketkeeper. Now I have 3 choices actually, between which I will have to choose 2 people. Ravindra Jadeja, and although he has played only 2 test matches, but he had clear impact in both the test matches that he played.
Yeah.
So it is a choice. So I have to choose between Ravindra Jadeja, Steve Smith, and Ajinkya Rahane. Because I am selecting a team based on the series and not because of reputation or past form, I think Rahane's captaincy has been tremendous in this series. He was the reason we won the Melbourne Test. So Rahane is my number 5 as well as my captain. Now, between Smith and Jadeja, if you have Rohit, Gill, Pujara, Labuschagne, Rahane, and Pant, you don't need Smith in my team.
Okay, fantastic. So you're dropping Steve Smith from the 11.
I'm dropping Steve Smith and I'm bringing in Ravindra Jadeja because he brings in that extra
absolutely by that logic.
Contribution as a fielder. I know Smith is also a very good fielder, but Ravindra Jadeja as a bowler is just too good. Plus, he will give you that 40-50 runs.
See, right? Ravindra Jadeja at number 7 is invaluable.
Yes. So that is my 11. Rohit, Gill, Pujara, Labuschagne, Rahane, Pant, Jadeja, Cummins, Hazelwood, Ashwin, and Bumrah.
Fantastic. So first of all, Didi, kudos to you for showing the courage to drop Steve Smith. It
No, I know.
absolutely.
It is like dropping. Going back to the 90s and dropping Tendulkar from an India
Yeah,
11
yeah, yeah, yeah.
or a combined 11. But I will, because it is this series, and Smith has scored a century, Rahane has scored a century. And then between Smith and Rahane, I also need to choose a captain, and I think Rahane's captaincy has been.
I
I've become
agree.
a fan of
Yeah, Rahan
calmness
is a great.
around which he's managed. Yeah.
He's I think Rahane has that very sort of an inherent ability to calm the team down. And I also did feel that in the last two test matches, presence of Rohit Sharma in the team also calmed, because do not forget that Rohit is a great, he's a highly
Let's not go in
successful.
there because he's.
Okay.
I'm biased towards Rohit Sharma, so
Uh,
it's
See,
difficult for me to kind of,
I think
because I think that
biases
he's
are
perhaps the best cricketing brain in the country after Dhoni now.
biases are created because of certain facts that we see in the past. Biases are not created like that. Gut. A lot of people say that I've taken this decision basis gut. The gut feeling is an outcome of a lot of uh, empirical data that you see in the past, and you sort of absorb it, and you use that to sort of take your decisions. So I am with you. My 11 is as follows. So my openers are going to be Gill and Rohit Sharma, because Gill, I think, is proof to one and all. Rohit Sharma, because I know that he did not score big runs, but I am with you. Uh, he looked the part all through the series, whatever innings he played. He was not really struggling. He was not being beaten, and he was playing the ball beautifully. And I think 90% of Rohit Sharma dismissals, they should be attributed to Rohit Sharma rather than the bowler. It should be treated as a
That is
run
the
out.
biggest frustration of being a Rohit Sharma fan.
So I think only Rohit Sharma can get himself out. Nobody else can get him out. Number three for me is Cheteshwar Pujara, no doubt. I think earlier in our discussions, I had spoken about, because I was a little bit frustrated about after the first inning, in Sydney. But we have the advantage of hindsight, and what hindsight has told me time and over again is that sometimes it is very easy to get fooled by the immediate numbers or the immediate results. A four-match test series is almost like a marathon. There will be certain legs, possibly where you're trailing behind, but then there will be defining moments, defining sessions that you will have to win, like how Australia won the defining session in Adelaide. And I think from there on, India continued to win on. And Pujara's ability to tire down fast bowlers, I don't think that any other batsman in the world right now has that kind of a appetite or a capacity to play about 1,000 balls in a four-test match series. So my number three is
Absolutely.
Cheteshwar Pujara. My number four is Steve Smith. I think Steve Smith is the best test batsman right now, no doubts about it, in my head. And I have not been a huge Steve Smith fan. I've always wanted Virat Kohli to do much, much better. I know that Virat Kohli is a robot. He's a machine in himself. Steve Smith has got some great natural ability with his hands and his eyes, and the way he plays it just puts the bowlers off, which is why my number four is Steve Smith. My number five is Ajinkya Rahane, and Rahane is also my captain. I also feel that number five suits Rahane's game really well. And Steve Smith coming in, I dropped Labuschagne. I was considering Labuschagne as a number five. I dropped him because obviously he was tagged against Rahane. For number four slot, I dropped him because I thought that even though Labuschagne scored more runs than Steve Smith, the runs that he scored, those runs were a little bit patchy. He got a few lives and all of that. And Steve Smith has been doing it far more consistently. So, which is why Steve Smith for me. My wicket keeper is Rishabh Pant, with the handicap of wicket keeping skill. But I will take Pant for the impact. My number seven is Jadeja, and the rest of the team is same. So I think with a little bit of a variation, this is a good. And then my 12th man will be Nathan Lyon. Nathan Lyon, I thought he did not bowl that badly, I just felt that Indians played him a lot better this time around. They were more intentful against him. There were a couple of sixes that they tried to hit against him, and I think overall Rishabh Pant just tore into him. And the kind of batting that Rishabh Pant does is incredible. It can just devastate bowlers.
Despite as in, not just Rishabh Pant, I felt that Nathan Lyon, somehow is very, very unidimensional as a bowler. At least it seemed in this series, because somewhere he needed to. I'm not just talking about the variations in bowling,
Yeah,
like a dusra tisra, or flipper. Sorry, uh, a straighter one, or some the one that goes away or something like that. I'm not talking about those variations. I'm talking about the fact that the beautiful classical off spinner's loop that he has. He sometimes becomes very predictable. And of course, Indians are masters of spin bowling, and it was evident today. Like Nathan Lyon started the series at 390 wickets, if I remember correctly.
yeah, you're right. He
And
needed 10.
yeah, and
He didn't
he
get
did
to
10 wickets
400.
for 400, and it was before the series. It was just considered a formality when he will do it, and he ended with 399. So over 4 tests, which is 8 innings. So it shows how Indians have played him,
And two fourth innings.
and a couple of wickets he got because Indians were trying to hit him, right? So uh, I thought Nathan Lyon was really, really,
I am with you, Didi. I am with you, and I thought,
average, I would say. I mean, he's still too great a bowler to be called average, but I would still say that Indians worked him out very well,
yeah.
and somehow he refused to move away from experimenting his line, his length. Uh,
See, I think
uh, uh,
with Nathan Lyon, what happened this series was what typically used to happen with Ashwin in the previous series. Is that Ashwin is a different kind of a bowler, and he found his own strengths in this series. Nathan Lyon did not experiment too much. I also thought that there was a lack of a creativity, and you're absolutely right. Not in terms of having variations in bowling, but more in terms of even say setting a field. What kind of a field will I set? Will I come over the wicket, round the wicket, and stuff like that? Can I just move my line from wide outside the off stump to say, in the line of the stumps or something like that? I just thought that there was not enough endeavor or say a plan B at Nathan Lyon's end, and I absolutely agree with you.
so when I say predictable, I mean this. So for example, I'll again go back to tennis because somehow I like giving tennis analogies. So suppose you are playing even on a clay court. I know, when we talk about clay court, we know whom to benchmark against, right? So I'm not talking about, say, playing Nadal on clay. I'm talking about when you are playing, you are expecting the person to be at the baseline,
Yeah,
and the rallies will come. You should have a weapon where you sometimes come to the net and surprise your opponent, do a serve and volley, shorten the points. Not at a regular level, because I know tennis has changed significantly since the 90s, where people don't serve and volley now. But if you consider playing from the baseline as the normal, suddenly you should also ensure that to bring in a doubt in your opponent that you don't know when he will come to the net.
yeah.
If you have that as a spinner, now you replicate the same philosophy to back to Nathan Lyon. You know, ki, matlab, and I think there was a time when Shane Warne was a little upset when he said that he brought in the field in the fifth ball. He said that he should have brought in a much earlier attack because Australia needed to attack at that point of time. So, anyways, he's a great bowler, but somehow Indians have had a complete control over him, and which was also one of the reasons why we could ensure that Australia's fourth bowler was not as effective as it could have been.
I am with you on that. And I think everybody goes through these sort of cycles in their careers. There was a time that our spinners struggled. I think this series Indians also batted against him pretty well. So that really is sport for you. So now moving on, Didi, very quickly for Cup, I would like to have a quick comment from you. England is playing Sri Lanka in Sri Lanka. They've already won the first test match very easily. The second match is on as we speak. And James Anderson, the old dog, he's taken 6 wickets in the first inning on a first day match, on a first day pitch in Gaul. So yeah, I mean, what do you have to say about Jimmy Anderson and even Stuart Broad for that matter?
There's nothing I can say. These are two of the modern day greats. Both of us. I know both of us over chat and over other discussion, over friendly banters have had our opinions on Broad and Anderson.
Yeah.
But statistics don't lie, right? I know that Broad, and Anderson are always labeled around the fact that they take a huge number of wickets in England, so that's fine. As in Murli also took a huge number of wickets in Sri Lanka, right? So doesn't really undermine their status as not great. So what both of them are doing, and I think you see something. A test series is a test series, and England have done so beautifully to rest Broad in one, rest Anderson in one. That's how they are, ensuring that the uh, fitness level remains intact for both of them. Whenever they're bowling short spells and bursts of spells, the effectiveness, and you said old dog, and the tricks that both of them have still not gone. Maybe the pace has gone down a little bit, and all of those things. But I saw Broad bowl in the summer in England this last year, as in during COVID. He was just too good, and I just hope that Indians will be able to negate the threat of Broad and Anderson with Jofra Archer coming in and Ben Stokes coming in. That series on paper is really tantalizing, but with Indian conditions and the kind of moral victory that India as a team will get after the victory in Australia, I still think that India should be able to manage the threat of Broad and Anderson.
Absolutely. I think what England has done really well is that they have utilized the Sri Lanka series to give enough practice to their key players and at the same time giving them enough rest so that they are fresh for the bigger ordeal in India. And I think this kind of a rotation, especially of fast bowlers, is really important. So kudos to ECB for doing that. I was quite surprised when I saw that there is no Jimmy Anderson playing the first Test match. But then I think gradually it struck me is that because uh, England were confident enough of handling Sri Lanka with whatever attack that they had, and
Yeah,
now
and with all due respect, Sri Lanka is also kind of now emerging as a team. Although they had that famous Kushal Perera innings in South Africa where he scored. It was Kushal Perera itself, right? I think I'm not wrong in the
yeah,
name when he scored that 153. So the one of things are there, but I think Sri Lanka is still rebuilding after Sangakkara, Jayawardene, and Malinga and all of those legends retiring. But Sri Lanka still is a threat at home with their pitches and with their slow bowlers. So
I just
I
feel
think
that for Sri Lanka, the bigger gap has come in their bowling more than their batting. Their bowling is now
Herath was a
yeah,
very steady wicket taker for them at one end for quite a long time after Muller retired.
yeah,
So that helped them a lot in their home matches at least.
correct.
But it's okay. Every team goes through a transition, and they will also find their perfect 11 as in a long. And in fact, it was very unfortunate of the way a lot of Sri Lankans got injured in South Africa, in a test
Yeah,
match. So I think it's okay. We shouldn't judge them too. I think Angelo Matthews showed his class
yeah.
by scoring a brilliant century. So coming back to Broad and Anderson, of course, there is no denying their threat with the new ball. We'll have to see how the wicket and everything behaves in Chennai, but with Rohit and Gill, we should be able to we hope we should be able to navigate those two. But just adding one more point, just extending this to the England-India series. I am not sure what is the extent of Ravindra Jadeja's injury, but what I was really looking forward was the battle between Stokes and Jadeja. In my opinion, two of the best all-rounders in one cricket now.
Yeah, unfortunately,
So
we'll not get to see that possibly unless Jadeja makes a miraculous recovery. and
So I'm
comes
not.
back.
I think he's out for the first two tests, right?
First two test matches is out. Let's hope, because it's also a wrist fracture, and these are delicate injuries, and they shouldn't be rushed. So let's hope that Jadeja recovers soon. And as we speak, Joe Root has scored his 19th test century just now.
That man is also in kind of a
Good form.
run, you know,
Yeah.
run machine kind of
So
form along with Williamson. In fact, all the big four of
yeah.
or the so-called big four are scoring runs.
So
So
basically, Didi, before we jump into now the Indian squad, and before I get your comments on the Indian squad for the England series, my final comments on the pitches. I just feel that India should prepare bouncy spinning tracks. They should not prepare low and slow pitches for England, because English players have evolved their sweep game really, really well, and they play all kind of sweeps now. So if you've got to get a sweeping batsman out, there's got to be bounce in the pitch, because then that is the only variation which will get the batsman out. So
I
that's my
agree to you, but we don't know how the pitch in Chennai will look like. But usually uh, it's produced good wickets, which has helped batsmen as well as spinners with a little bit of bounce here and there.
see. I know
Chennai is
Virat Kohli is a big proponent of having fair pitches in India also, and I think the results are now showing that we are winning abroad. But with the England team coming to India with the last 2-3 series of what I have seen, how England serves pitches to Indian squad, basically are green pitches, and I think India should give them a taste of some brown pitches uh, in India. So I'm
let's see, but
hoping.
I think whatever pitches it is, I know I'm also
I
a
know
little
that, I know
superstitious.
that, correct. I know that the thought now is that we have to take the pitch out of the equation and all
अरे
of that.
कुछ भी कर लो कुछ भी ले आओ you will
Ah,
win, so that
yeah.
that should
So
be that. I think.
correct. I know that that should be the attitude, but I would like to. I would be very happy if India deliver a series pretty similar to what they delivered to South Africa when they came the last time around.
No, as a fan, I'm hoping India wins 4-0, but I know it will be not easy. But I still
Yeah,
think that we can win 4-0.
I'm very
Having
happy that
said that,
Sam Curran is not in the first two Test matches. He's an Achilles heel for India.
that
I'm
was
just
actually my first thought. That was
yeah.
actually my first thought when I saw the England squad. But 4-0 will not be easy. I just hope we win. We don't lose a Test match. I
Correct.
don't think we will. But 4-0, there can be no better result than a 4-0 because we've lost too many 4-0s in England.
Yeah, I just want a 4-0 delivered to England, just like 2013-14. So that's purely from
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
coming
exactly.
that's
That's
coming
just
from
from.
a very vengeful fan of Indian cricket. That's all. So now
Yeah.
let me jump into the Indian squad. I have the Indian squad with me, and I will. So let's start with the openers. We have Rohit Sharma, Shubman Gill, and Mayank Agarwal as openers. What I want to hear from you is that, do you think that Prithvi Shaw was hard done by getting dropped by virtue of one performance in Australia?
But I for some reason had always wanted Shubman Gill. So again, I'll be biased here. If I wear Prithvi Shaw's hat, perhaps yes. But you also have to see that the guy is a precocious talent. It also gives him the opportunity to go back, reflect, play first class cricket, come back with a vengeance, play the IPL, play very well, come into reckoning. There's no denying his talent. It just needs he needs certain, he was done in by Stark and Cummins, in the same way, in the same manner rather. Plus that lack of confidence showed in his fielding with few drop catches.
Yeah,
So there is no denying the fact that Prithvi Shaw is a precocious talent. And I think what it will do to him is that it will make him better and stronger. And that is the aspect that you need to develop as a sportsman as you start growing, uh, you know, uh, start facing the challenges moving ahead in your professional life, right? So very early in his career, getting his position to bat the open, open the innings in Australia, then having been dropped to someone who was playing under him in the under 19 World Cup.
Yeah.
Is a healthy competition, but at the end of the day, if I were Prithvi Shaw, I will have to ensure that I do something to come back into the Indian team. So I think it's okay. He will go back to the nets and he will start practicing, and there is no denying his talent. So we will see a different. We hope to see a different Prithvi Shaw coming in. But coming back to the openers, I think even the India team for this. If you ask me what my India 11 is for this team, for this India test against England, so this is my 11.
I
Rohit
will
Sharma,
I will just I will keep your 11 for the final flourish of our
sure.
session today. I just want you to right now just give me the two openers that you want to play with in the 11. Just the two openers.
Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill.
And I am sure that Didi, with your knowledge of the game, you would be aware that Mayank Agarwal enjoys an average of about 100 in Indian conditions as an opener.
Absolutely, I'm aware of it, but I will still go with. As in, I don't have the guts to drop Rohit and
Shubman Gill.
Shubman Gill. And anyways, I told you, right? I'm biased with these two players. I mean, these are two of my favorite players in
Absolutely.
Indian cricket. So, you can bring
Fantastic.
in my bias.
Now let me get on to the middle order. I think the middle order sort of auto selects itself. Cheteshwar Pujara, Virat Kohli.
Virat Kohli and Ajinkya Rahane. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So for 1 to 5 is settled. Now my question to you is on Indian pitches, on spinning pitches, who is going to be a wicket keeper?
Look, Rishabh Pant now has done so many things that he walks into the team as a batsman. So let's just put Rishabh Pant in number 6. Okay, he walks into the team as a batsman. Now to select him as a keeper or not is something we can debate later on. But Rishabh Pant walks into the team. So we have 6 fixed. Okay, let's park 7 for a moment. Okay, let's park 7 for a moment. 8 is Ashwin.
And now, because in India, we have to play 2 spinners. So who will be?
Yeah, we'll come. So 6 is done. So I'm just saying 6 is done. Okay. 7, let's park. 8 is Ashwin. 9, 10, 11 are remaining. Okay.
So right now the question that I'm offering to you is, who is your first choice to partner Ashwin as the spin counterpart?
So the options that I have are Kuldeep Yadav, Akshar Patel, and Washington Sundar. Okay.
Yeah.
Now Ashwin will bring in too much of class and variation that will keep both the right-handers as well as the left-handers, busy in the crease, right? I will also have to look at the England combination. How many left-handers are there? If there are quite a bit of left-handers, I will not want an Akshar Patel because it's left arm orthodox and left-handers will have an advantage. Now, if that England team doesn't have too many left-handers, which at first instance doesn't look like. Look, Washington Sundar at number 7 will give you an additional batsman.
My point is that in Indian conditions, where our batsmen are masterful at playing the Indian conditions. So would you like to beef up your batting so much, or would you like to have some real class in your spin department?
No, I agree. So what I'm trying to say is that my top 6 are all batsmen, right? My top 6 are all solid batsmen. Yeah. My point is with respect to 7. So Washington Sundar has bowled tremendously in the test that he played. I'm not talking about his batting ability. Plus, he batted really well. So if Washington Sundar comes in, he gives me a solidity in the batting, plus a very good bowler. Then you have Ashwin, who is, I think, slowly getting back his batting, batting mojo. So Ashwin brings in that solidity in the batting lineup. So by basically I have batsmen from 1 to 8.
Okay.
Now I think Ishant Sharma and Jasprit Bumrah will walk into the squad. Now between Siraj, Thakur and Kuldeep and Akshar, if you have to go for a third spinner, depending on the pitch, I don't know if they make it a very friendly, as in a friendly pitch where there are things for the fast bowlers like Virat Kohli has always wanted, then perhaps they will go with a third seamer in either Siraj or Thakur, but I think they'll go with Siraj. So Bumrah, Siraj and Ishant will be my 3. But if they go for a spinning wicket, it's a toss-up between Kuldeep and Akshar. I think Kuldeep.
I would want you to take a bite and tell me, Kuldeep or Akshar Patel?
Akshar Patel, because I would want the ball to go away from the right-hander. Because Kuldeep will bring in the same effect that Ashwin and Washington Sundar will bring in. So to take the ball away from the right-hander, I will bring in Akshar Patel.
Okay. And now coming back to the critical question of having Wriddhiman Saha to keep wickets, because in Indian conditions that is going to be a big deal.
So if Wriddhiman Saha keeps wickets, then he is your number 7. Then you need 2 solid spinners and 2 solid fast bowlers.
Yeah.
But that is why I have always said that Pant needs to focus a little bit more on his wicket keeping skills, because Pant, the batsman, is extremely a world class batsman with what he has done now, even before that. But I think we can take a chance in the first test and give Pant the benefit of the doubt and go with Pant the keeper as well, because you never know. England is coming from a very, very good series in Sri Lanka. They will be high on confidence as well if they win the series. So Ishant is coming from a long layoff, so you also have to give him that. So we don't know whether he will be in the 11 or not. So plus you don't have Shami, who I think is still our number 1 bowler. With all due respect to Bumrah,
See, one of the reasons why Virat Kohli also pushed for very neutral kind of pitches was when Indian fast bowling was full strength. Right now we have to take cognizance of the fact that Shami is injured. Even Umesh Yadav, whose record of late on Indian soil is far better than his returns on away soil, because he's a skidder kind of a fast bowler. He bowls reverse swing really well. And if you remember in the last series when Australia toured India, he bowled beautifully on that tour as well against the Aussies.
Absolutely. So we don't have Umesh, we don't have Shami. We don't have Bhuvneshwar was anyways not there in the amongst the mix. So
I tend to agree with you that I will also leave Kuldeep Yadav out, because I feel that Akshar Patel is a difficult bowler to sweep, and English strategy of tackling the spinners is going to be heavily reliant on variety of sweep shots that they play. It could be the reverse sweep, it could be the switch hit, it could be the fine sweep shot, it could be the conventional or the slog sweep shots, and all of their players, Joe Root, Josh Butler, all of them, they are very, very good sweepers of the cricket ball. I just feel that Kuldeep,
and plus these guys are Butler and all of those people have played so much in India with the IPL and all of those things. They have also become very, very accustomed to the pitches. It's not like the '93 tour where Raju Kumble and Chauhan will wipe off England. So it will not be that easy, for India. As in 4-0 was something that we were just hoping as a fan, but it will be tough. My first reaction is that I hope India doesn't lose a test match. As long as we're not losing a test match, we're winning the series.
Yeah.
So by how much and how, we will all have to see how it pans out once the series starts on February 7th. But the first reaction around the team is this is what it should be, and we just hope. We don't know how Jadeja and Shami's injuries are and how fast they will recover. But something that I was really eager to look ahead was the battle between Jadeja and Stokes. The other point is with Rohit and Gill in the team. I just hope we are able to neutralize Jofra Archer's, length deliveries. Both of them are natural pullers and hookers of the ball, and if they're able to survive the first spell, the battle with Jofra Archer is something that I'm really looking forward to. Although these are Indian conditions, but Archer is still a world-class bowler.
Yeah. I just have one point to add here, is that possibly I will not risk Rishabh Pant as a wicket keeper in the team. I will still play him, and I will just hope that the pitch conditions are such that we will not need 5 bowlers for rotation. Because keeping to Indian spinners in Indian condition, for me, that's a very, very critical. It's almost as good as doing wicket keeping in England in swinging conditions, and it's a tough art.
I think it is even more tougher.
Yeah,
keeping to spin, which is why every time I think of Nayan Mungia and what he did with Kumble,
yeah.
I just can't think and not doff my hat to that man. Mungia against Mungia keeping to Kumble was perhaps the best sight that I have seen as a keeper. With all my fandom to Dhoni and all of those things, Mungia keeping to Kumble, nothing beats that. On Indian pitches, of course.
See, Dhoni was a gully wicket keeper and he did it really well. He was just able to.
Let's not go into Dhoni again. Both of us are biased again.
Dhoni was a wicket keeper who just never allowed himself to be found out so much by doing so many other things, and by keeping the basic fundamental hygiene of a wicket keeper's job so well. But yeah, I think kudos to him that he understood his limitations and he brought out a couple of things that no other wicket keepers used to do in that time. But yeah, so for me, I think I will be inclined to play Riddhiman Saha in the 11. And if I have to sacrifice,
if you play Riddhiman Saha, then you have to figure out who are your top 4 bowlers.
Yeah.
And then you will have to go with 2 spinners and 2 pacers.
Exactly.
The only thing is that if it becomes a batting, belter of a pitch, then what happens if your 4 bowlers, who is there to? If Hanuma Bihari was there, he would have bowled a. He would have.
So, Didi, my assumption is very simple. My assumption is that we are not going to make or present fair pitches to England. If England is giving us green pitches, then we are giving them absolutely brown pitches. That is what my assumption is. And if I were a curator, or if I were a selector, or if I were the coach and the captain of the Indian team, I would possibly have a quiet word with BCCI, and I would make sure that the pitches which are there are the best that suits our strengths.
We don't know what that's going to be, but we can only discuss that once the pitches.
Yeah, so let's.
But I'm just saying that the point is right. That we need somebody who can keep to Ashwin and ideally Jadeja, but now Jadeja is not there, so I think they might go with Akshar Patel. But in that case, who would be your 2 pacers, Bumrah and Ishant, or Bumrah and Siraj, is something that we need to see after
Yeah, you're right, because see, all said and done, Ishant Sharma recovery has just been the Syed Mushtaq Ali Trophy. He would have played 3 or 4 or 5 matches there, possibly bowled about 20 to 25 overs in a T20 format. So we'll have to see how well has he recovered, and is his body ready for the test match grind in Indian conditions. We'll have to see that.
Yeah. So I don't know. We might have the 3 pacers and 2 spinners, and
Pant will be wicket keeping. Yeah, I think most possibly we'll have that combination. And
Because going with 4 bowlers is you saw what happened to Australia, right?
yeah,
So you never
absolutely.
know which team will come up. You always need the backing of a fifth bowler, especially if your fifth bowler can also come in as handy as a batsman. So which is
Yeah,
why I
and
think
and let's not forget that even spinners, their bodies, they get tired. Ashwin is not really the fittest of the men around. They use their bodies, their torso, their fingers. It starts to twitch after 6 7 overs. There is sweat around. Your fingers are sweaty. There is the seam sort of cuts your fingers and stuff like that happens also, and it impacts. So I think even if we are playing spinners, it's always a good idea to have 5 bowling options in a test match.
yeah. So we'll see. But at the first reaction at the teams and how uh, you know we feel it should be, I think we should. More or less, the 11 looks kind of more or less settled, but we'll have to see
I'm
the
just I'm just a little sad because a player like KL Rahul does not even get discussed in the in the top 11. That makes me a
It's
little
a
bit
it's a
sad.
it's a very sad thing, but again, it's a very good thing. Like
Yeah,
the other day, Abhishek Mukherjee was talking about, right? You can have 2 India teams playing Test cricket
yeah,
now. We can be proud about the fact. So it's okay. Matlab, where 11 players are playing, you know, you will have those things. Padmakar Shivalkar retired without playing a match for India. Rajinder Goyal retired without playing a match for India because Bishan Singh Bedi was there,
yeah.
right? So it's bound to happen, but now you have so many formats and so many things, so it's okay. If you have to be in the best 11, you have to be the best. And
Absolutely,
I think
absolutely.
kudos to the BCCI for creating such a brilliant bench strength. I'm
And
feeling bad for Rahul. You will feel bad for Hanuma Bihari. You'll feel bad for Mayank Agarwal, but you can only bring in 11 people in the team, right? So
Didi, my last
let
question to you, and I don't want the answer right now. But I really want to posit this question in front of you, and we will continue to come back to this question and continue to discuss during the course of the England India series and uh, in times to come forward as well. Is that do you want to develop Shubman Gill as an opener, or do you really want to groom him to be the bedrock of Indian batting in the red ball arena as a successor of Virat Kohli playing number 4 for India? So that's the thought. I know that I've asked you this question before also, but I just wanted to refresh that thought. I know that under the current circumstances, he's done good enough to be found out as a batsman, as an opening batsman. But I genuinely believe that Shubman Gill is India's next number 4.
as in terms of pure talent and all, of course, no denying the fact, but you will also have to ask Shubman Gill what does he want,
Yeah,
right? Number two, and this is my first reaction. I'm not thinking through and giving an answer to you. And second thing is, let's talk after Shubman Gill plays the England series in England.
absolutely. Which is why I said that I'm just planting this thought so that your thought process is on, and let's see the entire series before something.
Both the other day, both Abhishek Mukherjee and me agreed that Shubman Gill is 10,000 test runs for India, right? Now,
Absolutely.
at which position we don't know. Like as of now, he has succeeded as an opener, but we'll see. He's too good a player to not succeed in any position. And the other point is, why should number 4 be the best position always? Why can't number 1 be? Tendulkar became Tendulkar in ODI cricket because he wanted to face the maximum amount of balls, right? I know Test cricket is different, but Ricky Ponting batted at 3, right? Joe Root or a Steve Smith or a Labuschagne bats at 3.
The
So
original, the
it's okay.
original, the original Little Master was an opener himself.
Original Little Master was an opener, so let's not go there too much. We'll see how it goes. But on that note, enjoy your Sunday and looking forward to connecting again shortly.
Yeah, Didi. So let's connect again then next week, and goodbye till then.
Thank you. Bye.